Joining me now, Unleash Prosperity co-founder and former economic advisor to President Trump, Steve Moore. You know, Steve, President Trump says we are going to see a golden age, but it looks like we're going to see a nice little boost to our pocketbooks in 2026.
Yeah, you better believe it, Cheryl. And by the way, Happy New Year. I call it the triple play of stimulus that is coming in the weeks to come. Number one is the fact that the people will see less money withheld from their paychecks because of the big, beautiful tax bill. And that means people will have more affordability because they'll have a bigger paycheck as a result of that. Number two, Trump just announced in recent days and weeks that a lot of those tariffs that were imposed in 2025 are going to come down. That also is a stimulus to the economy. And finally, it looks as though the Supreme Court will invalidate some of the tariffs that were put into place in 2025. What that means is that a lot of retail businesses and factories and manufacturing companies will get a rebate check from the government. Boy, I look at those three things, and I'm looking at a very, very strong 2026.
Yeah, and we've heard those same comments coming from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent when he has sat down with Maria, that it's going to be a great year. Now, there's some very encouraging findings from a new study that you guys did at Unleash Prosperity. There's been a dramatic turnaround in Americans' retirement savings. So this is a big deal. What's behind the change?
Well, first of all, it is a big deal for American families. Look, there's 150 million Americans who have either 401k plans or IRAs or other retirement vehicles that are invested in the market. And we estimate, based on what's happened with interest rates and what's happened with that big boom in the stock market that you just talked about, Cheryl, the average family gained about $22,000 after inflation in the value of that account. And by the way, that is a complete reversal of fortune from what happened under Biden. Because of the high inflation and the high interest rates, people actually lost about $25,000 in their 401k plan. So that's an additional benefit that American workers are getting from Trump policies.
Yeah, no, I mean, 160 million Americans are in the stock market. So obviously,
that's right.
Yeah, so your data really shows that there is this boost. Maybe it's not the paycheck to paycheck situation, but it's the overall financial story for these folks.
Yeah, look, Americans' wealth is rising at a very rapid pace right now. So it's not just income that people should be looking at. It's the amount of money you have available when you retire. Look, I just turned 65. I'm starting to look more and more closely about how much money have we saved, how much money have we invested. And for baby boomers like me, that's a big deal. And incidentally, a lot of that wealth will be passed on to young people, our children, right? So they should have smiles on their face as well.
I think it's interesting, Steve, because you've been very outspoken in saying that there's a messaging issue and the Republicans need to better message the economic story, not just for 2025, for 2026. What are those points?
Well, listen, I mean, maybe Trump should be saying, remember that famous Bill Clinton line, Cheryl, I feel your pain? You know, it was kind of hoaxy, but people, you know, people like that. And for Trump to say, look, it's an overall strong economy. I understand for young people, like I have two sons that are in their early 30s. They can't buy a house right now. They can't afford it. My wife gets angry when she comes home from the grocery store about the cost of things like, you know, a steak or ground beef. So maybe just to show a little empathy while he's reporting the very good news on the economy.
Yeah, and certainly, too, you mentioned this, pulling back some of these tariffs. The one thing that we've seen from the administration is that they are willing to pivot. And if a tariff is going to have a negative consequence on the American consumer, they will change that policy. Do you think that we're going to see more of that in 2026?
Well, I think the big story, Cheryl, on the tariffs, and as you said, I'm not a big fan of tariffs, but Trump has been very strategic. I mean, he's like 2 steps on the chessboard ahead of everyone else. He has used these tariffs to get other countries to agree to invest more money in the United States. And when you do that, and he says it's $18 trillion. I don't think it's $18 trillion, but it may be a couple $1 trillion. I mean, think about what that means for the value of American stocks, American companies, what it means for bigger paychecks for Americans. So we are we are the alpha male economy and the alpha male stock market right now. We're growing much faster than any other developed country. It's a pretty good picture.
It is. My thanks to Steve Moore. Steve, great to see you.